Yo, family, what's going on? What's going on? How y'all doing? How y'all doing? This Taquan X. This Taquan X. So in this video, we're gonna be talking about jurisdiction, right? And I want to go back. I want to backtrack it a little bit because a lot of non-citizen nationals contact me a lot, right? You know, they always say, "Man, I went into court. I filed a few documents. I challenged the court jurisdiction. The court received my letter declaring that I'm challenging jurisdiction. And when I went to my first court appearance, they declined it, right? I mean, they denied it, right? And pretty much they say, man, I'm filing this with the court. I'm filing that with the court. And it's like they not really getting, they're not really getting it. Meaning whatever I'm trying to propose to the court or whatever I'm trying to fill out to the court, they're not receiving it. So anytime they get any documentation, they just shoot it back. They're like, man, I don't want to see it. You get what I'm saying? They shoot it back. They shoot it back. They shoot it back. Now, I want to explain something to you guys, right? When you get to a position where you really represent yourself, right? And you really a sovereign, you represent yourself, you standing on business, you making sure that you want to enforce all legal ramification, like you want to pretty much exhaust all legal remedies in the court, right? You got to understand one thing. Just because you file it in a circuit court, that don't mean you can't appeal it. Because filing one document in a circuit court, meaning the trial court, and they don't accept it, it would be stupid to send another document in that same trial court expecting the same results most of the time, right? Because you got to understand, you're dealing with magistrates. You're not dealing with judges. Judges are only district court judges, right? Just like you got district court magistrates, you also got district court judges, right? And that's the highest in the land, right? So when you're dealing with state court, most of the judges are magistrates, right? So they're not necessarily real judges, right? So the first thing you want to do, right? So let's just say if you challenge jurisdiction, you put it on documentation like it always should be. It should never just be verbal because the judge going to decline it in court. Let's just say if you file a motion to dismiss, the court lacks personam jurisdiction, right? Or you say the court lacks subject matter jurisdiction, and you send it over to the trial court. Now the trial court reviewed it. You had a motion hearing for it. The trial court says that the state charge against the defendant is sufficient, and this court does have jurisdiction, right? Now, most of the time, the court makes an assumption that the court have a jurisdiction just because they think they can try these cases in this court, but it lacks the original effect, meaning the original jurisdiction. So you just don't stop right there. Then you file a notice of you file a notice of appeal. Now, when you file a notice of appeal, you're taking this to the appellate division, right? So once this goes to the appellate court, the state court has to be notified that you wish to challenge jurisdiction and you want to take it to the appellate court. Now, the appellate court hear the decision, right, and they say, hey, I think this is appropriate. We want to dismiss it. But let's just say for the sake of the conversation, they say this is not sufficient. We pretty much see a basis of the state charge, right? Okay, then you appeal it to what? State court, right? Remember, state Supreme Court. Now, state Supreme Court received it and you exhaust all legal remedies with them. It doesn't stop right there. Then you file a federal notice of removal. Now, when you file a federal notice of removal, if your court matches any federal rules or regulation or any federal statutes, and the federal court does have original jurisdiction over the matter, that can be sent over to federal court. So I'll tell a lot of people who want to be sovereign, right? You got to go all the way. I'm not talking about taking 2 steps forward and running 100 steps back. You need to go 100 steps forward and 1,000 steps even forward, right? Because you got to understand that most of these people that goes in court and argue with the judges, these are scripted people, meaning they get some documentations and they send it into the court, and then they hoping that the judge will side with them and take whatever legal argument that they presented to the court is valid. Oh, well, this court lacks jurisdiction, Your Honor. Denied. And so you're like, oh my God, this judge needs to be barred. No, listen. It's two things that's going on. Either the motion that you filed was not appropriate for the court, meaning you didn't specify the correct arguments. You didn't specify a solid basis of why you challenge your jurisdiction. You didn't include any supported information, such as case law, such as statute, such as the paragraphs that's in the statutes or whatever the case might be. So none of this stuff was specified in your motion to dismiss, right? So when you file a motion and you want to challenge jurisdiction, you got to understand your motion has to be in the plain text. We challenge the jurisdiction we challenge the subject matter jurisdiction, and you specify the state statute which deal with subject matter. You also can support it with adding a federal statute in which deal with subject matter jurisdiction. And so once that is properly sent to the court needs to address it, right? So when most people go to court, they got they just have a scripted line. This court lacks jurisdiction. Are you a real judge? That's not really challenging jurisdiction. You got to understand, this is chess, not checkers. So everything has to be done intellectually. The judge can care less about your emotions. The judge can care less about your presumption on what the court should be. Remember, that is an administrative court. That's not an Article 3 court. That's an Article 1 court. That's not a constitutional court. That is an administrative court. And if you also want to be honest, most federal courts, really all federal courts, are administrative court. Partially administrative because you do have the Article 3 aspect of it as well. So I would say both conflicts, but I already say it's an Article 1 court as well, which would be an administrative court. And you have to find all legal ramifications in showing and finding many loopholes in the system to show that this court lacks jurisdiction. If not, you're going to be just like everybody else, lost. So my advice to a lot of people who want to challenge jurisdiction, you better take it to the extreme. You better take it as far as you can, and you better not give up. You better not stop. You better not just deal within just the trial court and you done. We need to go to the appeals. We need to go to the Court of Appeals. They deny that we going to the Supreme Court. They deny that we going to federal court. They deny that we going to the Federal Court of Appeals. They deny that we going to the United States Supreme Court. They deny that we going to the United Nations. Get that serious, family. Get that serious. But how far are you going to take it? You got to understand, how far are you going to take it? Because remember, the prosecution is going to take it far. The police is going to take it far. The judge is going to take it far. The district of attorney is going to take it far. They're not playing with you. You need to not play with them. But you have to be strategic, less emotional, more logical, especially when you're trying to go into the court and you're trying to stand on your principles, right? Remember, when it comes to bearing arms, when it comes to traveling and everything like that, my argument is the Second Amendment is still in discussion. So we still have the Second Amendment, whether you a felon, whether you prohibited, whatever the case might be. But certain case laws are not being accepted by the courts because of the arguments, right? This is not appropriate, this is appropriate. But remember, jurisdiction can be challenged at any time, before trial, after trial, during trial. I just don't want a lot of you guys to be in jail while doing this. So make sure that if you is served with a felony indictment, that you show up to court so you can properly go at your case the right way. And if you really, really, truly don't know how to go about case law and everything like that, tap in with me. Say, Taquan, send me some motions, bro. I need to learn how to write out a motion, how to properly address a court on a motion, right? And I can either send you my PDF copy, or if many of you guys request it, I can drop a video and I can show you how I would go about it. I can show you what I would do in that situation. Don't ever stop. Keep going. But you got to understand, this is a chess, y'all. This is chess. This is not checkers. This is chess, not checkers. So just understand that, family. Take that wisdom, take that information, and make sure that you win. And make sure you take it far. Go hard. Don't go soft. Go hard. Understand the loopholes in the criminal justice system. Understand the loopholes in the statutory system. You need to be going through your state, all your state codes and statutes, and search out keywords. Type in lack of jurisdiction, jurisdictional challenges, challenging jurisdiction, what's another thing called again? Man, hold on. What's another thing called again? I said it before. Um, when you verbally contractual waiver, go to your state website, search up contractual waiver, and it's going to be under challenging jurisdiction and jurisdictional claims. So when the court presumed that they have jurisdiction because the contractual waiver was done, you make sure you make a basis of argument for that. If there's something they call minimum contacts in the state statutes, you make sure that is written down. Remember, these case laws have to get written down. These statutes have to get written down because when you form an argument, remember, they go off the books. They got to go off the books. They got to go off the books that they written. But they don't understand that we know this shit. Look, I'm gonna tell y'all something, right?